You put the flame on it. Charles Bradley here at KRFF 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. We're streaming everywhere on this blue and green marble. We can get into your ear hole. It's a lovely, lovely day here in the upper Midwest. Fargo, to be exact. That's why we're shooting our little sensors out, y'all. But it is absolutely gorgeous where I'm at, and I'm enjoying it. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here, 4 o'clock, 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news. Expect it. It's happening. It's just not yet. You're just going to have to wait a little bit. All right? You can handle it. Again, thank you for joining me on KRFF 95.9. In the morning is Country with Trav. Then you got Fred, spelled with a P. That's the AI robot spinning the jams when I'm not here, or they aren't here, or we aren't here. 4 o'clock, I slide right up inside here. Last Thursday, I was up in the close to the Canadian border, slapping the skins for Jesus. And man, I did a good job, though. I hate to admit it. I really hate to admit it, but our little church, like there was other bigger churches, that could have had Thursday night, and this would be the third year that I've done it. And we usually got stuck, on Monday and Tuesday, where the opening bands are. But this year we got bumped up to a more regal position of Thursday, but it came with other expectation, blah, 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 blah. And we burnt the place down, figuratively. So I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit, and I show him props every Sunday, 417 Main Avenue, Antioch Church. 10 a.m. we have a recovery class if you got a monkey on your back, or you've kicked said monkey off your back, but you can feel that little banana eater pulling at your pant leg. Come on through. We believe he can get you through it. 11 a.m. worship. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook, 1,200 mgs of CBD, locally grown hemp, whipped up into a tub of really fun stuff for your outer body. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show. Again, you're listening to Radio Free Fargo, 95.9 KRFF LP, Community Radio. You a business owner? You a manager? You got a nonprofit organization under your belt? Considering advertising? Why not learn what underwriting is on a nonprofit community radio station? To learn more about what underwriting is, please contact us at our website, www.radiofreefargo.org, or hit our profile on Facebook. Why not let listeners know that you support the community by supporting a community radio station like the 95.9? Again, cannabis, benefits of cannabis, cannabis legalization, general hemp flower news. I'm your man. New economic frontier, if you're in North Dakota, has garnered enough signatures. They're waiting for the Secretary of State to spit out an okay with the signatures and that they've succeeded, which I have ultimate confidence that they're going to do that. He has to have it done here. I forget when. Google it. Just Google it. But anyway, there's a deadline. I think it might be this week. Maybe next week. I'm not sure. I'm confident, especially with the expression of how they vetted the signatures. I don't see an issue, so you can expect it on the ballot. And again, you're going to be able to have 4 plants, I think. I'm winging it. Google it. Go to New Economic Frontier. I can answer all your questions on that website. Again, we are going to have a legalization measure to be voted on in November. I'm going to switch it up myself. I'm going to start talking about other stuff. I feel like there's enough crazy stuff going on that I'm going to switch up my vibe a little bit. But stay tuned for that. That's going to happen in November. But right now, I'm still going to be pushing the cannabis. Cannabis generalization of the plant. Like I said, from hempcrete to shoes to medicine, it's got you covered. Again, North Dakota, educate yourself so you can educate others on this upcoming ballot initiative. We want people signing yes. And if for any other reason for me to just, kind of stop talking about cannabis on a high note, that'd be neat. But it isn't necessary because I'm kind of bored. You can only talk about the same thing so much and still be stoked about it. Feel me? Anyway, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. KRFF, that's the station you're tapped into. 420, we'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news. I'm going to play a little song here. My brother made the trek west. He's now in Seattle. And that's kind of crazy. So this song is for him. KRFF 95.9.
A prophet is not honored in his own country.
Shickety dust off, Crash Safari with Trampoline on KRFF 95.9. Fargo's where I'm shouting out from. It's a beautiful day here. I hope everybody else is getting that sun on their face because it's out there. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. 420, we'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news. But first, I'm kind of doing this easing you into the new topic and the new radio show coming up this winter. I've curated a couple fun stories that don't technically have anything to do with cannabis. However, this first one, you got to be smoking something to get your brain wrapped around this. This is from the AP News. A New Jersey man flies to Florida to attack another player over an online gaming dispute, deputies say. Well, do tell, right? Like, I mean, obviously, I'm going to want to know more than that, you know? Because stories like this kind of just make my brain kind of spin. An online gaming dispute made its way to the real world when a New Jersey man flew to Florida to attack another player with a hammer. Of course. I mean, if I had a nickel for every time that happened to me, you know, you're going to give me some stuff online with the games. I'm going to show up at your house with 2 frozen marshmallows glued to a stick, and I'm going to work on your Adam's apple with it a little bit. I mean, it's just the way of the game. Edward Kang, 20, charged with attempted second-degree murder, and armed burglary with a mask. He was arrested early Sunday morning. Nassau County Sheriff Bill Leeper says, I just want to let you know this is a weird one. Oh, good. Some things you just can't make up. All right. Kang and the victim, another young man around the same age as Kang, had never met in real life, but they both played Archage, a medieval fantasy, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Man, that's a lot of words. The game's publisher announced in April that it would be shutting down servers, citing a declining number of active players. However, Kang seems pretty active. He flew from Newark, New Jersey to Florida last Thursday after telling his mother that he was going to visit a friend that he had met while playing a video game. Officials didn't say how Kang learned where the victim was. Upon arrival, Kang took an Uber to a hotel about 35 miles north of Jacksonville, got himself a hammer. Okay, got himself a hammer at a local hardware store. He went to the victim's beach home, which was unlocked, which is weird, around 2 a.m. The victim was walking out of his bedroom, you know, probably scratching his butt, when he was confronted by Kang, who hit him on the head with a hammer. The two struggled, which is usually what happens after you come out the bedroom and you're attacked by a hammer. There's some struggling, you know, it's in a manual somewhere. The two struggled as the victim called for help. A stepfather responded and helped to restrain Kang until police arrived. He did suffer several head wounds that, you know, kind of come with getting hit with a hammer that were not considered life-threatening. Once in custody, Kang says that guy's a bad person online. He also asked deputies how much jail time people got for breaking, entering, and assault. Leeper goes, I'd say, Mr. Kang, it's going to be a long time before you play video games again. He was being held without bond. I mean, I just don't understand how people get in their head that that's cool to do. Like, I never understand the justifiable, like, because we're talking, you're putting plans in motion. You're telling your mom you're going to visit a buddy. You're getting tickets. You're Googling hardware stores. Like, you're putting work in for something that wasn't real. Like, you're doing real work as a result of non-realness. I don't know. And this is a crazy story. It's a crazy story, too. But like I said, this is the kind of stuff that I'll be, that this show will be kind of will replicate. I feel like I'm going to call it What in the World? Because like I said, you read the title of that thing and hit them with a hammer, you're like, what in the world is going on? What in the trailer park sister on meth is going on here? That's what I'm asking. KRFF 95.9. Listen to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. 420. I'm going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news. So stay with me. But first, check this out. And the title is, His Brother Was Found Dead. His mother was arrested. Then this baby was found crawling by a highway. That's a sentence. That's real. It's from the AP News. His brother was found dead. His mother was arrested. Then this baby was found crawling by a highway. All right. This is out of New Orleans. Louisiana sheriff says a 1-year-old miracle baby survived 2 days of sometimes stormy weather. Now, keep in mind, Hurricane Beryl was just dancing around this area. All right. Before a truck driver spotted this 1-year-old crawling along a roadside the day after his 4-year-old brother was found dead and his mother was arrested in Mississippi. Okay. The baby had numerous bug bites but was in good condition. So they found the 4-year-old, right, and they had learned that he had been last seen Saturday with his mother. All right, and the 1-year-old. Fearing the 1-year-old was dead, authorities prepared Tuesday to search the water when the dead child was found. Then a truck driver called 911. After spotting the baby. We looked at this 1-year-old as our miracle baby because he was still alive. Hurricane Beryl had struck East Texas early Monday, so there was like high wind, whatever. This kid spent 2 days out in the weather on the side of the highway. Isn't that crazy? Well, we're going to hit a musical break. Then it's time to open a big fat bag of cannabis news. Here's Staycation, the Magic Beans, 95.9. Nothing wrong with a little staycation. The Magic Beans here on Canna-Talk 95.9 Radio Free Fargo.org. Thank you for joining me. It's that time when we do this. So I want you to hear. We'll see you in a second.
Hey, it's Phil from Canna-Heads. Like this episode? Hit that like button. And if you enjoy the show, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on cannabis news, local and national. Listen live on 95.9 in the Fargo, North Dakota region from 4 to 5 p.m. on Thursday. For our non-Fargo region friends, you can listen on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Now enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, 420. That's around now. So we're going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news right now. New economic frontier. If you hail out of North Dakota, that would concern you. Signatures have been compiled. They're now awaiting SOS's approval, which I'd say is pretty much cut and dry. So you're going to get to vote for cannabis here in North Dakota. Everybody's pretty optimistic. I mean, polls don't look great, but it's a conservative measure. We're a conservative state. I feel like most people are going to get with it if you're going to get with it. You know, now there's still going to be naysayers, and I get that. And some people, I just don't know how. I don't know how you're going to change their mind. But if there's ignorance to be dealt with, well, then, you know, education is here. If they're willing to hear and listen, I mean, the stats are available. New economic frontier, cannabis legalization measure to be on the ballot in November. So, and I don't know what other measures there are to even be voted on. I'm kind of one-sided. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Canna-Talk ND. That is kind of the update in North Dakota. Just educate others. You know, if they have any questions, help them out. Man, Minnesota, though. We're going to talk a little bit about Minnesota. Okay. It's crazy. It's crazy. So let's see. Where are we going to start? Where are we going to start? I'm thinking right. Where are we going to do it? I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I wish I knew what to do. Let's start with Illinois. Illinois. Well, I thought that was going to show me right there. Here it is. Illinois reaches $1 billion in combined cannabis sales for 2024, and they did it 2 weeks earlier than the previous year, so they're yearly kicking out billion-dollar combined sales. Now, again, and I always reference this, but it's a valid point. I mean, I don't know how many billions of sales in fentanyl, like in Kensington Avenue, there are. But if you go to Kensington Avenue and you see people spending money on that, it's a war zone. And that's not the only town or state, for that matter, that's overran by this crazy drug. Now, again, if you're pumping $1 billion, is there $1 billion in fentanyl sales happening in Kensington Avenue a year? I don't know. But you certainly are talking about the results. I mean, you're like, whoa. I mean, you got to go to Kensington Avenue with a bulletproof vest on in the daytime. You don't have to do that everywhere in Illinois. I mean, yeah, there's some bad neighborhoods, but it's got nothing to do with cannabis. You know, so where is the negative? I mean, at some point, at 10 billion, at 50 billion, how many billions of combined cannabis sales in just one state do you have to have before you think, well, this is kind of nice? We like in the tax money, we don't see any negative effects. So, Governor Pritzker says growing sales in 2024 means cannabis tax revenue will continue to play a major role in righting decades of wrong in the state's criminal justice system. Illinois has the most equitable cannabis industry in the country, and it's growing. So, tax revenue from cannabis sales in Illinois alone has led to more than $244 million in grants for economic development, violence prevention, youth development. So, again, I would say that all the money that goes, that comes in from fentanyl purchases is not going to build youth centers. I'm guessing. So even if you're not a big fan of cannabis, do you like youth centers? Do you like extra money in your coffers? Because Illinois is kind of showing you that we can make billions of dollars and not be in the news, like Kensington Avenue. Most people, when I say Kensington Avenue, you know exactly what I'm saying. And if you don't, Google it. I bet if you Google K-E-N, right, you won't even have to type in an S, and Kensington Avenue is going to show up. And those people all on that trank and the fentanyl, again, mercy of God, I got clean before all that mess. Because I would have been Team Blues, I'm sure. You could just call me Fetty Wilson. Anyway, this is wild from Cannabis Moment. Iowa companies claim in lawsuit that state-approved THC drinks with 10 servings per can. So if that's 10 mgs a serving, right, you've got what? That's 100 mgs. That's quite the can. Ain't nobody splitting that up. What are you pouring it into Hound's cups? Companies that are fighting the state's effort to restrict THC levels in carbonated beverages claim the state knowingly approved the sale of 12-ounce cans with up to 10 servings per can. So that's crazy. All right, so 10 companies are suing the state to block enforcement of a new hemp law that restricts the levels of THC in beverages, which I don't know why it would be bad to restrict levels. I don't know. If it's too much. So anyway, the companies allege a new law based on House File D, both of which were passed this year, is preempted by federal law. They also argue that attorneys for the state have misled the court by arguing state regulators were unaware that they had for years approved the sale of 12-ounce cans of THC-infused beverages that declared there were 10 servings rather than one in a single can. So the new language limiting the THC in a consumable product to 4 mgs per serving. Companies say the law doesn't define a serving, creating uncertainty. Well, boy, aren't we talking about the chicken and the egg here? Or what Bill Clinton, it depends on what is. Well, isn't there a definitive with servings? All of a sudden now, we're vagary with servings? Well, my serving and your serving, are they the same serving? I don't know. I can't assume it. Well, you shouldn't have to. A serving should be servings. So then the Attorney General, he argues, and I would argue this too. To know how many servings are in their products, just look at the side of the can. Once they see the number of servings that they are federally required to list, they can compare it with the amount of THC in the beverages. Everybody knows how to do this. Companies say the law's vagueness has led to their products being unofficially shadow banned, with retailers refusing to sell them. And again, Iowa is just a tip of the iceberg. When we start talking about Minnesota here, they are literally out there. Because I've been talking about THC. Well, it's a whole new day in Minnesota for THCA. THCV, which I'd never really heard of before, that's a no bueno. They have legalized THC from hemp, which we all know is the same, in drinks and stuff, low doses. And that's still cool. But they've struck down all this, like I said. North Dakota for a while, HHC and all that stuff's been no bueno. I mean, you can't do that anyway. And I think THCA might have still been sliding under the radar in North Dakota. I'm not sure about now. I don't think so. But Minnesota certainly has put the kibosh on it. But again, it just makes me chuckle how come everybody else knew that it was real and that all you had to do was apply heat and the A came off? I mean, everybody knew that THCA was THCA before a lighter. I mean, how come the government and the powers that be didn't know? I knew that. I don't know. So, anywho. So, this is from the Bismarck Tribune. The title says, Cannabis product retailers bristle at new North Dakota rules. This is from July 15th. New rules for cannabis products sold in North Dakota went into effect July 1, but members of the industry said it's already difficult running a hemp business in the state. I would imagine, the new rules are aimed at addressing more detailed labeling. It's just a waste. They're reinforcing restrictions on psychotropic hemp products that may be trying to get around established rules. I don't know. Some North Dakota hemp processors see the continuous updating of regs as a major hurdle to their businesses. So he says a small business is challenging enough. Starting a hemp business in a category all of its own. There's more hurdles. There's more red tape. Anything from banking to insurance, all that stuff's more difficult for us compared to someone who's just making candles. And I don't think it should be any different. So Timothy Frey, spokesperson for dispensary, says CBD dispensary is a legal business. He's found it difficult maintaining business relationships. He's been dropped by 2 credit card processors. He's been dropped by his payroll company. He's gotten denied by 12 banks in Bismarck. He said the 13th bank, which the business ended up using, requires him to send the bank quarterly lab reports, and they're charged a $500 premium per month to use a checking account. Frey says he doesn't mind following all the rules because he wants to prove to the state his business is completely above board and ready to become one of the first businesses of cannabis if it passes, So, and we're going to get a chance to vote. So we'll see how that plays out. This is a little side note. Wiz Khalifa decided it'd be cool to pull out a joint in Romania, so he was arrested because you kind of got to be. However, they didn't Brittany Griner him because Romania must be cooler. They did arrest him. He was released promptly and posted on social media that he meant no disrespect to Romania by lighting up on stage. He was arrested in Romania for drug possession. I don't know if he's got to go back. Boop, 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 boop. It was noted that he, during a recital held at the festival, possessed over 18 grams of cannabis, which they call a high-risk drug in Romania, and consumed on stage another amount of cannabis in the form of an artisanal cigarette. And I don't know, is this Romanian? I mean, interpreted into English? Because, who's talking like that? I don't know. But, oops, Wiz did it again. Am I right? Cannabis moment. What do we got here? This is something I suppose you gun owners would be interested in. Cannabis moment. Department of Justice doubles down on claim that medical cannabis patients endanger public safety if they own guns. And so again, I just wish there was proof like that. They're just statements. I can say that. I can say bubblegum poses a greater risk of bubblegum chewers pose a greater risk of suicide. Because I believe you should kill yourself if you chew gum. What? That's got to be real. Just words are words. So anyway, they believe medical cannabis patients who possess firearms. Now, keep in mind, there is a representative in Minnesota who applied for a medical card. I don't know if he was still allowed to hold a public position. Excuse me. But, that guy certainly was more than capable. So anyway, they endanger public safety, they pose a greater risk of suicide, and are more likely to commit crimes, and this is in quotes, to fund their drug habit. See, now this is the word vernacular that I just can't get behind, And again, we could have, like I said, I could have my brother call in right now, and we could say, hey, how big of a habit was it to break? It was like water up a duck's back. I mean, compared to some of the things that are habit forming, some people have issues, but again, if you really like it, your body's really going to fight you to keep it. And that just is the way it is. If your body like it, it's going to want more, but there's other risks and detriment to your health with other things like alcohol. And you would probably be more likely to commit a crime to fund some Mad Dog 2020. All right. So that justifies in the government's eyes a federal ban on gun ownership by cannabis consumers. But again, when we're talking about depression, I mean, a bottle of vodka and bullets. I mean, it's kind of harsh, but suicide by booze and is way higher. But we're okay with it. They can have a permit. They can have a pistol. They can make a poor decision, drink a 175 of some sort of horrible vodka, and make a bad decision. Erupt in violence, who knows? But certainly something that he wished he hadn't done. But booze is fine. So the hypocrisy is just crazy that they would, use these kind of jive phrases that, if we gave a medical card holder a pistol and he ran out of cannabis, he's going to say, hey, I bet I could use this gun to hold an old lady up to get more grass. I can't get behind it. I can't get behind that. So anyway, last week, plaintiffs and DOJ submitted briefs in a separate case that responded to the potential implications of the High Court's latest decision. Right. So we'll see how it goes. So anyway, the latest development in the 2-year case with a group of medical patients arguing that their Second Amendment rights are being violated because they cannot lawfully buy firearms so long as they're using cannabis as medicine, despite acting in compliance with state law. So I'm with it. Change needs to be done there. All right. So this is fun. Ganjapreneur. Manure. Hempcrete wall product earns 1-hour fire resistance rating from ASTM International. A hempcrete wall product by American Cast Hemp recently received a 1-hour fire resistant rating. I mean, now that's some good hemp. So it's the first time a full-scale ASTM E119 test, I'm sure everybody knows what that is, has been performed on a hempcrete wall section. And I'm looking at a picture of it burnt, and man, it's a 12-inch thick wall assembly using the E-Reezy hempcrete system, using lime plaster on both the interior and exterior. The exterior face was completely undamaged through the 1-hour firing at 1,700 degrees. They also did a hose stream test, and the exterior face never rose a single degree above ambient temperature, which is incredibly compelling results. So shout out to those guys. And in 2023, hempcrete was approved as a non-structural wall infill system for the model building code by the International Code Council, which that sounds like a really good deal. Now, this is just fun to say. I don't really care about this article, but we'll talk about it. You're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. I get in here 4 o'clock on a Thursday. 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and we're, up to about, right underneath my nipples of show. We're screeching to an end here. But I think we all can handle it, can't we? Senators will vote on Doobie Act. Doobie Act. To prevent agencies from using past cannabis use to deny employment and security clearances next week. Now, are you ready? Dismantling outdated obstacles and barriers to individual employment, or Doobie. I mean, I wish I could have been the guy who came up with words to describe it into an acronym for an act. What's the Doobie Act? Well, it's the dismantling outdated obstacles and barriers to individual employment. The measure will receive a markup in the Senate Homeland Security Affairs Committee. It's the latest legislative attempt to ensure that a person's eligibility for the federal workforce is not negatively impacted just because they are previously consumed cannabis. And I feel like, I mean, if we can let anybody, have an option to be employed regardless of everything, that should apply. That should apply to that. Minnesota cannabis officials tell vendors to let me start over. It's from Fox 9. Minnesota cannabis officials tell vendors to stop selling other THC variants. See, they're coming. They're coming. Nearly 4,000 retailers in Minnesota are checking their shelves. You better check your shelf before you wreck your shelf. Am I right? Holla. After receiving a warning, you better check your shelf before you wreck your shelf. Man, that's fun to say. And in my brain, it's going over and over. I would, you better check your shelf before you wreck your shelf. All right. After receiving a warning from state officials on Tuesday about the consequences of selling illegal products, the OCM is cracking down on certain strains of cannabinoids, as they say too many shops have been caught selling illegal products. So, in a letter, they remind retailers that only 8 and Delta 9 are allowed in hemp edibles, which is kind of funny that now we're arguing that, right? Like it's like we the originators of pro-cannabis as a medicine, right? As something that could benefit your life was Delta 9. And we say, yeah, the active, Delta 9 is what we get the most, say, medical benefit from. They're like, absolutely not. That's horrible. But somehow, because all this other stuff, they're now like, hey, let's just stick to the real stuff. We're like, well, we've been trying to say that forever. You forced the backdoor creation of all this other stuff by demonizing 8 and 9 in the first place. You just put out a fire after spreading the coals. I mean, you blew the coals everywhere, then you put the bush out. I mean, you created all these other fires. So, the owner of Higher Place, he says, we were very surprised that we had something on the shelves that was non-compliant. Now, I'm not saying I don't trust anybody. I'm not saying a lot of these retailers deep down, if they had a lighter to their foot, would be like, yeah, I kind of figured this was bad, but it said from hemp and it was compliant. And then a lot of this stuff comes with a little, placard that says this, is in line with the Farm Act. So if you want to ostrich your life, you just say, well, head in the sand, you just go, well, it has to be fine. I got a little thingy in the mail. So I'm saying that I don't know how surprised these guys are, really, that some of the stuff was non-compliant. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's wrong to sell it. I'm just saying I don't know how surprised you really are. Now, I know that you're supposed to say that. I mean, you got a microphone in front of your face. You're not going to go, yeah, I always knew my place was shady, but people were buying it. Nobody was coming in. I mean, I bought a lake cabin, I got an expansion pack for my World of Warcraft game because people were buying this whatever. So, specifically, apparently, THCV, more commonly known as diet weed, which I thought diet weed, due to its reported appetite curbing, energy boosting properties, is illegal. And so all the other ones are too. On its website, apparently, THCV cannot be shipped in Minnesota, but it was discovered on the shelves of Minnesota stores. Now, Collins said Minnesotans will be able to petition the state to add additional cannabinoids, such as THCV, in January 2026. Which I don't know what that means. I mean, the Karens we're letting the Karens decide which cannabinoids are good? I mean, what is this 1-800 call in we don't want this cannabinoid in our school? Huh? I don't know. Again, you've been listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson on KRWF 95.9. Let me tell you about this. Lunatique Boutique is now open, friends. Located inside First Avenue Market, they offer antiques, art, oddities, which that's a fun word, right? Makes you want to know what that is. Vintage and more, incorporating the artworks and practices of yesteryear. You can find Lunatique Boutique at 612 First Avenue North in downtown Fargo. They're also available on the Facebook, on the Instagram, or at their website, luna.teak.boutique. Create, defend, and bless with Lunatique Boutique. Again, thank you for listening to another rabble-rousing version of Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I apologize for not being in last Thursday, but I had the Lord's work to attend to, and I still got stick blisters on my thumbs. Like, I really rocked. So I'm still kind of in pain. It felt like somebody put me in a trash bag and kicked me down the hill for most of this week, but I'm going to make it. I hope everybody else makes it. I am going to kind of fade to black here. We're going to play a song. And this is from Cosmo Sheldrake. This is Soil featuring Nature, and he used nature. Well, that's a pleasant way to end this. Soil featuring Nature. Cosmo Sheldrake on 95.9 RadioFreeFargo.org, specifically Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm your boy Wilson. I have been sharing cannabis information with you. I'm about out the door. Normally it'd be Stinky Arts Music Mart, but that's not happening today because I think he's traipsing around Europe. I don't know. But I think he's on a Euro rail. That's all I can tell you. And most likely safe. There's other programming here on Thursdays. Don't forget other days as well. I'll be back in next Thursday. I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit, and I show him props every Sunday. Antioch Church, 417 Main Avenue, 10 a.m. We do a recovery class. I'm their head junkie, so, I'm there. But anyway, if you've got a monkey on your back or you've kicked said monkey off your back, but you can feel that banana eater pulling on your pant leg, recovery is for you. At 11 a.m. worship, I'm on stick duty. That's exciting. But again, I was practicing yesterday and I was bleeding on the sticks. I mean, I really tore my thumbs up for God at Bible camp. But again, I'll be in next Thursday, so set your calendars. Note it on your iPad. Make sure your BlackBerry's notifications are lit up. I'm just making stuff up. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. 1,200 megs of locally grown hemp whipped up into a fun tub of a viscous substance that is good for your outer body. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show. Again, New Economic Frontier has gathered enough signatures. Looks like Secretary of State is going to push it through, so you'll be able to vote on cannabis in North Dakota in November. Do your part. Talk to people. And hopefully I can transition into the next thing I do on a high note. Oh. Anyway, I'm going to jump out the door. Fred, spelled with a P, is going to situate you here until the next show with music curated by his little computerized brain, which I trust fully, right? I trust him to even take care of me. I mean, I don't even know what I'm doing. I let the robot do it. But anyway, we got a little time here. So, again, New Economic Frontier has gathered enough signatures. So there will, most likely, it'll be on the ballot. I am going to actually fade out. I'll be in next Thursday. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Live your life. Live your life. I'll be out of here shortly. To ease the pain, I'll play a little Judgment Day, David Allen. Peace.